And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next segment of Are You in the Game? This week's topic is, do you know your value? Before we get started today, I just want to remind you that this is a panelist discussion. And for that reason, we will save all questions to the end if we end up having time. This tends to be an action-packed hour, and we usually have to cut off at the end of the hour. So we may not have time for questions, but just go ahead and do a little housekeeping so you know what to expect.
And Robbie will stay for hour 2 from
all right. We need, let's zoom out. So give us just a second, Zoom world. We're going to adjust the camera. Can I get a thumbs up out there? Can you hear us okay? Can anyone hear me in Zoom? Anyone? Anyone? Yay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Brians. I appreciate y'all. All right. Are we good? We have camera. We have sound. All right, you guys. I am Jen Dixon. I'm happy to be your host for today's segment. Again, we're going to talk about, do you know your value? And to start off, if you will each introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourselves and how long you've been in the business. Turn it on.
Testing. Oh, it is. So I'm Cindy Dudley with, I have my own team, Dudley Realty Group. It's shrinking fast. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry, that's kind of funny. So got good humor. I've been in the business since 1998, and I started as new homes rep at Mill Creek, where I lived at the time. So I was the 5th homeowner in Mill Creek. So I remember when it was really tiny. What? There are still cows. Yeah, there were cows. Yeah, absolutely. So I love this business. I'm a professional realtor, and I eat, sleep, breathe. I worked a 13-hour day yesterday. I am tired. So here.
I'm Amy Klutz. I'm in my 5th year in the business. I have been a solo agent on a team. I've done dual career part-time. So I kind of feel like I've done it all. I also love it. And yeah, happy to help anybody.
Robbie Cavender, I'm on year 6. Seems like a lot longer than that, but so I've been in the business as an individual agent the whole time, and started with 0, and here I am now. But grateful to be here.
I'm Joe Baker, and I have had my license actually longer than anybody on this panel. I've had my license since '96, and I was previously with another realty firm for about 2.5 years, got out of the business for a while, and have been with Keller Williams now going on 7 years this month, actually. So coming up on my anniversary, but yeah.
I know we had trouble with the mic last time and not recording, but my name is Pete Glidewell, and Beth and I have Glidewell Properties as a part of Keller Williams, and we do it together. We do everything together. I've been in the business 4 years. Now she's been in it 7, and today's your anniversary. Oh, I got to get her something now. And I got into the business because I lost. I was running for Congress, U.S. Congress in 2016, and Beth said, I'll stand behind you while you run, but if you lose, you're going to come to work with me. And so I did.
There you go.
I love it. I love it. So a wide range of experience here in this panel. So we appreciate you being here. The first question I'd like to ask you is, think back to when you very first started in real estate. Did you realize your value?
I did. I came from a real estate background. My mother was in real estate when I was growing up, and she always encouraged me to get into sales because I had the personality for it. And I sold different things through the years. So when I was a young kid in a 4-H club, I was selling spices door to door. And then I would do fundraising activities for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. I sold jewelry, and I sold air. Air being radio advertising. Now, if you can sell radio advertising, which is a non-material thing, you can pretty much have a future in anything. So my goal ultimately, long story short, was to get back into real estate once, as I said that I was in real estate before. knowing that that's where I wanted to be. And I was going to go back to the previous realty firm that I had started with. But then I found Keller Williams, and Keller Williams just, I just embraced everything about it because I'm kind of a fundamentalist when it comes to real estate. And so I knew that I could sell, but I needed to know the nuts and bolts of it, the technology, the education and all that. We'll get into that a little bit more, but yes, I did. So, and I've been forward thinking ever since.
I should have started. Yeah. When I first started, I didn't. I knew the value Beth had, and I didn't know the value that I had. And I think now, 4 years later, for me, yeah, I do now. And it's a wonderful profession to be in. And I call it a profession. It's not a sales job, it's a profession. And if you treat it like a profession, you will be good at it, and the folks will appreciate you. If you treat it like a sales job, they won't.
I would say yes and no. I mean, I knew my value as far as what I was doing. I didn't know how I was going to do it, when I started, like most of you guys, and, where was my business going to come from, and chasing people like, Cindy and people that, how am I going to find my niche? So that was challenging for a short time. But once I identified that, there was no looking back. So, yeah.
No, I had no idea. And I knew I came from a client services background, so I knew my value there with helping people. But when it came to real estate, no clue, no idea what I was doing, and no idea how I could help people. I do now.
That was such an honest answer.
It's true. I do now. Mhm.
Okay, good. Well, I think everybody's why you asked that question was because it's hard to know because you're out there by yourself. When you start, you're like, what am I doing? So I started, as I said, 98, and I had left. So I've been in sales or in retail sales since I was 16 years old. And so I heard about this position in Mill Creek, and I thought, oh, that's what I want to do. So I promoted Mill Creek. So I promoted that where I lived. And I didn't get my license until a year later. They paid for me to get my license for Fonville Morrissey. And then I was doing that, and I was just a little bit bored. And two people came into that sales center, Cindy Isley and Patty Teague. Do y'all know who they are? Well, Cindy Isley was a partner with Heather McAndrew that started Keller Williams. Okay. So Cindy and Patty Teague used to be our team leader, and our team leader for 8 years. So I've been with Keller Williams. I was the very first agent that signed with Keller Williams in 2004. Y'all don't know that, but yeah. Okay. Yes, before pens and pencils. Thanks, Robbie. That's good. You and Joe Don. I'm gonna get you later. So yes, I saw what was needed and what I wasn't getting from the firm I was with. And I was so excited about Keller Williams. And I mean, this is back when there were 30,000 agents when I signed with them. And now we have 180. So yeah, I learned my worth very quickly when I realized I needed to be with a full-time brokerage, and I was with a very petite brokerage. And then I left there to come to Keller Williams, and I followed Cindy and Heather.
Wow. All right. What I love about that, and yes, that is why we asked the question, right? Is I think everybody comes into this and they think that maybe they're the only ones that feel the way that they're feeling. And so that's an excellent, thank you so much for such honest and open answers. I'd also like to note this is why Amy sits between Cindy and Robbie, so that we don't have any showdown fights.
We're already right beside each other in the office now. We're good. We're all good.
I just like,
we joke 'cause we
she
can.
knows I love.
No, I can handle it.
All right. So next question
As
is.
Jen's pulling her podium back.
I'm trying to keep the feedback. I'm not scared, y'all. I'm not scared.
Cindy doesn't have her water bottle.
That's right. I was hitting Pete last time. That was
Too
funny.
funny. Okay, Ray, let's get ready for the next question. At what point in your career did you realize that I bring something to the table? What was that moment for you when you realized I bring something to the table?
Sure. Mine's a little different. And I love you, Cindy. So mine is when my second year, I went on a listing appointment, and it was my first real listing appointment. I was competing against other agents, and I got the listing, only to find out that I beat Cindy And honestly, you guys, I mean, as a newer agent, because I have so much respect for her, that felt incredible. And that was like, oh my God, yeah, I can do this and I can help people. And so that was kind of the point.
Yeah,
I mean,
I remember. Yeah. I was a little sad.
I-
A little sad. But I was proud of her. I was still proud of her. Did I say, oh, but you were so honest with me and I was so happy for you because that helped her.
Mhm.
I went on to the next because just because you get 1-0, you go to the next, don't you? So we all do it. I lose to Joe Don and I lose to Robbie.
It's a huge confidence boost to make you feel like you can do it.
Yeah.
So that was for me.
Yeah, okay.
What's the moment that you realize that you bring something to the table, Cindy?
So, I've had a long career. So I have been divorced through Keller Williams. So divorced, kids, lots of stuff going on. And then the crash happened in 2008. And then I did okay. 2009, I was top 3 in MLS. Top 3 now, 2009. 2010, I was like kicking it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change my life. I'm gonna go into leadership. Do y'all know this story? I went into leadership. I left my business, got rid of all my signs. I was on top and I went to a team leader position in Greensboro and I changed our lives in 2011. 2011, I rented my house in Mill Creek. I couldn't sell it. I moved to Greensboro. I'm going to change lives. I love leadership. I'm going to do this. Needless to say, I failed. It's the only time I've ever been fired from a job. Look at Terry. So, and I said that at the beginning because I didn't want to end it. So, Andy Lung, who's the OP there, fired me. And I went out quietly. They sent an email out and I just left and everybody was like, oh my God. I couldn't recruit. It was because there were some people in there that I could not, that nobody would come. And, that was 10 years ago. I just realized that was 10 years ago, January. And I had to come back. I lived in Greensboro. I moved my whole life and I came back to Burlington and I had to start over. So I was at the top and I thought I could do leadership and then I went straight to the bottom. I had no money. It was like the bottom of the bottom. Like I had to borrow money from people to even survive. And I only sold 13 houses that year. I do that in 1 month now. I had to dig really deep to get back. And I knew I was worth it. I knew I could do it. And I did it. That next year I sold 36, hired an assistant, and then I kept going and doubling. And so you have to kind of, it's failing forward. So what I'm saying is I gave away my business. Basically, I made enough money with referrals, but then when I left that business and I left Mebane, everybody thought I'd moved to Greensboro. They didn't know I was back because I wasn't in touch with the database. So it's a long answer, but now our database is touched all the time, except I just saw somebody today that listed with another firm. I went by the house. I was like, what's going on?
That was an amazing answer.
Yeah, I think for me, it was probably those first 4 months. And first December, I think it was in those first 4 months that I learned that, and it wasn't easy because it was trying to identify, I would sit in that office and make phone calls and listen to Joe Don's rock music and, make phone calls all day long over and over again. You want to sell your house, you want to sell your house and get used to hearing no, and took bold right off the bat. And that helped me immensely. But I think once I got that first one under my belt, I realized that, what we do is we're not selling houses, we're selling relationships. It's about the relationship. You can make that relationship, you'll be fine. And that's really what it comes down to. You can sell anything. You can sell air or whatever, but if you don't have that relationship, if you don't have that client and you're not touching that client, the way I look at it, I have the right relationship and I have the right transaction and it goes right, I shouldn't have to touch that person 40 times. They should call me back because of the relationship that was established.
It's all related.
And so to me, it's all about that. We shouldn't have to send an email once a month. And not that there's anything wrong with that, do that. They need to be reminded of who you are. But if you have that relationship, they're going to call you back. And that's been evident, I think, in my career immensely. I don't think I've had many people that I know of that I work with, unless I didn't want to work with them again, but many people that I work with that didn't call me back when they were at their next stage or somebody they knew was getting ready to sell or buy or whatever it was. But I think if you focus on that relationship, the rest of it is easy.
Well, for me, when I was first started with Keller Williams, it came to me this time around when before the end of my first year, our team leader comes up to me and says, I need to have a talk with you, and in the office with him. And he says, we want you to join the ALC, which is the Agent Leadership Council. And he said, the ALC is comprised of members that are representative of the top 20% of agents by production. And I said, I did that. And people that know me know that I'm a very relationship type of person. I come in here, I get focused and I do my work. But when I'm out in the hallways, I'm trying to socialize with as many people as possible.
No kidding.
To know when you bring something to the table is when you go all in and you are breathing this business, you are living this business, and you're doing everything that's being offered. You got to jump into your business and you will be successful. Yes, you can come to work and you can sit behind the phone for agent on duty and you'll get lucky and you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 deals a year out of that. But to be able to get to the production level, you've got to really commit yourself to it. And if you do the work will have dividends to you. So you will bring something. And when we talk about bringing something to the table, I like to share my experiences. And when we do our script practice, which is every Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 9 on Zoom, you're welcome to join and participate if you want to. It's really gratifying to see the new agents that are coming in and they're learning things. And I'm going to put Amandalyn on the spot. She, just a couple of days ago, she said, I did this script we worked on the past week and it worked. And she said, and she was just belting it right out. And then she was mentoring a newer agent under her. And that's when you realize that you're bringing something to the table. When you get involved with what you're doing professionally, and there's so much that's available to get involved with, but when you get involved in something, then you will get to a level to where you can bring something to the table and nurture the people under you that you've been nurtured by above you.
What's the question again?
The
My
question,
answer was shorter than
the question, yeah, but I can understand by the time you get to the last.
Let me say something before whatever the question is, I'll try to answer it. And that is, Cindy may not be the team leader, but she is certainly a team leader. And I look to her for a lot.
Same, very much so.
What's the question?
Mr.
Oh, it's,
Gladwell, the question is, at what point in your career did you have the epiphany that I bring something to the table, that Pete brings something to the table?
I think it's 2 things, really. First listing appointment I went on, we were going through the contract, and I took her through the contract, and she said, this is the first time I've ever understood it. So just handing somebody a contract and saying, sign here, and this is what can happen and what can't happen and all that kind of stuff. And it made me feel really good because it was the second time I read the contract myself. But anyway, now I know what's in the contract, and that's good. The other thing is when I got my first check. That's when I knew what my value was. And then I looked in the MLS, the Alamance MLS, and figured that real estate agents in this county earn between $25 and $30 million in commissions. And I said, well, there's some value. And so I just would love to get a little piece of that. And so, we may be, if you look at it, next to LabCorp, the biggest business in the county. When you look at it like that, I mean, we sell $1 billion worth of stuff a year here in Alamance County, and we help it get done. And it's easier. Beth and I were in the sock business for a long time, and it's so gratifying to sell somebody else's inventory instead of yours.
Yep.
What I absolutely loved about all of your answers that very easily, because we're talking about you and your epiphany, it very easily could have been something that sounded more I driven, and every one of your answers was very servant driven, very relationship built foundation and about taking care of people. So I that really shows your heart. So I love that. Next question, and Mr. Glidewell, we'll start with you since you have the microphone. We all do something really well. Call it that it factor, right? What is it that Pete does really well? Or what is it that you all do very well?
Well, Beth and I do this together. We do, you know, Beth could do one side of a deal and I do the other and be legal, and we don't do that. We do everything together. We are basically one agent. We report as one, all kind of stuff. And so doing that, what I think we do the best is we focus on the client. We got 4 ears to their one mouth. And we try to listen to what they want and when they want it and what their motivations are. And I think the first time I went to Bold, John Prescott was the head. He's the head of the whole thing now. He said, always go back to the motivation of the person you're dealing with, your client, and remind them every day of what their motivation is, and all the stress and crap will go away if you talk about their motivation first. And so I think what we do best is, because we got 4 ears, we listen pretty well and focus on what they want to do, not what we want them to do.
For me, I'm an advocate for the fundamentals. I've mentioned that before. When I first started here, and I came to Keller Williams because I was told that there are systems and models, and there are educational opportunities here for you, and then there's the tech and all that. Well, I embraced that, and that's what led me here. And when I got here, I was going to prove those systems and models were going to work. So I dove in and I took Bold. Probably 2 months after I started, I went to the next Bold session and it was here. Then I had a reality check, because the Bold coach said, I'm a script master, and this is the Bold coach talking. I'm a script master. I can't be out scripted. And I was just listening to him and I was being inspired by him. And I said, that's interesting. He's got that much confidence that he cannot be out scripted, and he would just belt scripts out after a while. And I says, I'm going to be like that. And so 12 Bolds later, and practicing scripts on a daily basis, and being a part of the script practice every morning. I don't necessarily consider myself a script master, but I know a lot of scripts and I use a lot of these scripts and they work. And the thing is these are the proven systems and models that Keller Williams tells you works. And doggone it, I'm going to prove that it does work. And so I've used it. I've gone to Bold when they told me to go to Bold. I've done the scripts and I've taken the classes and here and there, and I've implemented it in my business. And when I was considered a decently successful agent the first time I was in real estate, selling $1.5 million a year, now I'm doing over 5 million a year, and up to 40 units a year, and I consider that pretty successful. And so it all goes back to the fundamentals and the systems and models that work. So
I love that. I'd like to say that for anybody who doesn't know, Bold is Business Objectives, Lives by Design. It's a kickstart program. We suggest you take it at least 8 times, because you're going to hear it different throughout your business. And it's a program that's really meant to just really boost production, boost you as a total person. For me, Molly DeMactos, I wanted to be Molly when I grew up. That's the whole reason why I'm in the position that I'm in, because I was inspired by her. I want to be a Bold coach one day. That's a neat thing to think about. Robbie, what is it that you do very well?
I think the biggest thing for me is just been learning follow-up. That's always been for me the bread and butter. I know I'm not going to get the appointment on the first phone call, but I don't mind picking up the phone. I'd rather call somebody I don't know. So I prospect complete strangers. I don't prospect people I know. And I have no problem talking to a stranger. I mean, I'll talk to anybody about whatever. But the follow-up is the key, I think, for me. And that's what sets most agents apart. You can follow up in this business, you will be fine. Because most people make 1 phone call, maybe 2, but most of the time 1 phone call and then they disappear. Oh, you're not interested. Okay, no problem. Well, just because they said they're not interested doesn't mean they're not interested, right? I mean, don't take no. What is it? 99 no's to 1 yes. So I've gotten very good at that. I've gotten very good at prospecting. Obviously I've had opportunities even within the company to even prospect with Gary Keller himself. which was crazy. But the amount of things that I've been able to do in this company and this business are just, it's amazing, to go from as a pastor, making $30,000 a year. And, last month my GCI was, I think, 147,000 is amazing. So, I mean, it's, yeah. Yeah. So it's been a good ride for sure. I love what I do, but I think that biggest thing for me is the follow-up.
For me, I think just goes back to my client servicing. One of the things that's really important in my business is to make sure that, you might have 5, 10, 15 clients at a time, but making sure they all feel like they're the only one that I have. So that's kind of what I focus on, and I think I'm really good at, and also being learning based for everything that Keller Williams has. So I like to take classes and just be open. And I think that helps.
Well, I've just got to tell you that Joe Baker is a script master scripter. I'm sorry, but I go on there and he challenges me and he makes me better. Thank you, Joe. Okay. It really, I've been doing this a long time and Joe has too, and we're on there in the morning and we are seeing a couple new faces. It'd be great if more people would come on, and you need it. I'm telling you, even if you've been in this business a long time. If I do it, I don't know why anybody, it's a habit now. So I have it in my schedule. Put it in your schedule.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And we learn lots, don't we? Look at Amanda Lynn got some great, she was so excited when she told me in the hallway that it worked. It worked. I got the listing. And was that your first listing? Yes. It was her first listing. And and that made me feel so good. Okay, so sorry, I just had to do that little script thing because it makes a difference. So what do I do well? Well, I think I price the house well. And I love my price to sell class. And recently I had an email from a newer agent, and she emailed me and thanked me she had gone through Ignite and it had been the one that was had been recorded. And she said, it was so nice to be able to pause you. I could pause you and take notes and turn you back on because you go real fast. And it happened to be Joe Baker's wife, Brittany. But it was so sweet. Bethany, did I say Brittany? I'm sorry, Bethany. Oh, whoops. Good one. Bethany, excuse me. I did not mean to say that. So it was just so nice to hear that feedback because, I teach it and I get that. So, I get that one-on-one, but lately I've been doing it on Zoom, and I love to teach in a small setting and, talk about how to price a house and how my mind works and how I do things. And I think I do that really well. You have to change a couple things with the way the market is now, but pretty much you have to catch up with the market, right, Robbie? Right now you almost need to be ahead of the curve a little bit, but not too much. But price to sell, I feel and I love, guys, I answer my phone and I will talk to you. And I do the broker hotline one week a month, but people always call me. If they can't get that broker hotline, honey, they know Cindy Dudley's on the ring. And then, I hate calling you. It's okay. I wouldn't have answered if I did not want to talk to you. So, that's probably a bad thing too. My assistant, Emily, and the thing, she goes, you always answer your phone. I'm like, well, I enjoy it because I like to help you. To me, that's part of being a servant leader. That's important because when I was first in this business, Cindy Isley or Jolinda Gibson or Patty Teague or a lot of other people that you don't know everybody's names, but I knew I could call them and they always answered my call. And that made me a better agent.
Yeah, that's what I love about this firm, that we're a cooperative firm and that we take care of each other and we're abundance minded, right? There's enough for everybody. I'm really glad that you mentioned Ignite. Ignite goes back live in August, and I need to speak to every one of you after this. Mr. Glidewell, you included, I'd like to put you on my roster, but so just know we will.
I might have to say no.
You cannot say no. Who am I going to get to teach their class if you don't teach it?
Pete Glidewell can do price.
Oh, no, I know what I want Pete to teach. Okay, so next question. And Cindy, I'm going to start with you since you have the microphone. In real estate, especially on the listing side, we have to communicate our unique value proposition. What do you communicate in your consultations, especially in the listing presentation, as your value proposition?
That's a good one. Okay, so I just had a listing appointment last night with my son. We've done a couple of those lately. to me, it's communication. Like I'm always very quick to respond. I don't wait to respond, or like I don't like voicemails sitting there and or a text message if I haven't responded. I mean, I respond probably at is up to 10 o'clock at night. You know, having a team to back you, having professionals, you know, I'm a professional and what we do for that client, as well as when you live here, you really need to market to multiple listing services. I mean, that's probably the biggest unique value. To me, that is one of them. And my other thing, so this is, I'm trying to remember what we said last time and it's kind of clicking now. I do not do dual agency. So I'm always a designated agent for the seller. And I explain that and they like that. Everybody doesn't see it that way, but I do. And I haven't done dual agency in 5 years. That's why I have a team so they can work with buyers, because I'm not real patient with buyers anymore. I've had 3 buyers all year. I just closed one and that was easy. Third house, made an offer, done. Well, wasn't that easy, but you know, it sounded real easy. But still, I think it's the dual agency that I do designated dual agency and explain it very well. Okay.
I'll be honest, I don't know if anything I do is unique. Everybody does the photography and all that stuff, but for me also, it's about communication, being really clear with them on what their hours are ahead of time. So I know going in, like what our communication times are going to be, because not everybody works 9 to 5 or whatever it is. Making sure that they're clear with mine and making them understand that I'm available to them. I'll respond within a certain amount of time. And I'm a partner with them. I'm not, I'm doing this for them. This isn't about my commission check. This is about your goals and making it very clear to them about that. So.
Yeah, I think just piggybacking off of what both of them said, it's making it not about the money, making it about the relationship. It's, helping them to understand. Now I have a track record. When I started, like you guys, I didn't have a track record. How many houses have you sold? I was always afraid I'd get asked that question. I'm sure you all are. I never got asked that question. I get asked that question now. I didn't get asked that question then. I'm like, where were these people 5 years ago? And I would walk in and be like, crap, they're going to ask me that question. I'd be like, oh, well, you're the first one. Or actually I sold one, but it kind of didn't close, but. But I think the biggest thing that sets me apart, is again, that communication thing. It's setting those expectations up front, on both sides, so that they understand that, hey, my goal is to help you sell your house. But again, I'm not going to be available at 9:30 at night. I've got kids to chase around. I'm not going to be working on Sundays. I put that on my voicemail to where, you call me after 6, I'll call you back next day. There's no emergency in real estate, and I think that helps, because then they see that, okay, there's boundaries. You're hiring me to sell your house. It doesn't mean you're hiring me to clean your house and to walk your dog. And not that I haven't done some of those things, and we all have, but it's setting those expectations up front, I think is the biggest thing for me, because I want them to see too that, hey, even though I'm trying to earn your business, you're still trying to earn my business too. I don't have to work with you, yeah. I mean, so to me, it's like, now back in the day, I would take any client anywhere, but what happened? Oh. But anyways, it's setting that expectation.
For me, it's negotiating. Negotiating is something that I consider myself skilled at. I've studied it, and it's my favorite part of the transaction.
Can I have the microphone?
No. So when I sit down with a listing client, then I tell them about that. When I sit down with a buying client, I tell them about that. And, I try to reassure sellers that, yes, it is a very, very hot market right now. However, you don't have to get really crazy over the list price. We have to find ways to appeal to the seller. And there's things that I do to do that. So you don't necessarily, and I've won offers that have not been the highest offer, and I've won buyers for the buyer that have been actually under the list price recently, believe it or not. And so, and that's how I sell that unique value proposition is I'm very passionate about negotiating. It's what I enjoy the most. I teach the class on it at Keller Williams. So you're going to get a top negotiator that's going to be an advocate for you. And so that reassures them. And I also tell them, I said, will I win every time? No. But I've got a pretty strong track record of very successful wins in negotiating, and that's what I'm willing to do for you.
I think with us, it's what's that song, Baby, I'm Yours? We only do one side of any deal. Beth and I always do it together. So we're not trying to split up and all that kind of stuff. And we do both buyers and sellers. So it's on the listing side. I think, again, it's what their motivation is. I think it is on the listing side, we concentrate on the 3 Ps. Everybody says that the 3 most important things in real estate are location, location, and location. And that is true, but there is one thing you can't change about a property, and that's location. So what are you going to do? Move it? No. You're going to talk about what you can change. And the 3 Ps are what you can change, and that's pricing, promotion, and preparation. And so we concentrate on getting them to prepare the house as best they can. Then we price it at the last minute before it goes on the market, because it's changing all the time. And we tell them that, right? We're going to put the price out the night before. If you don't want to do it, if you want to price it now, usually when we find somebody that wants to price it 6 weeks in advance of when they're going to list it, they've made up their mind and they're going to give you a price that won't work. And it's not market price. And so we say, we love to work with you, but we're going to price it the night before. And we'll negotiate all night the night before maybe, but we think that's the best way to get the house price right, because Robbie sells a house every other 20 minutes and the comps change. So the comps change. And then what's going on in the marketplace? You know, did the interest rate go up? Did the interest rate go down? Was there a war that started or whatever? And I don't know that 6 weeks in advance. So we try to focus on the client, focus on what we can change, what's in our control, and go from there.
I love it. Well, it's your favorite time because you've got the microphone, so you don't have to wait on everybody else for the next question.
Uh-oh.
Play nice now, the next. So how do you handle the seller objection? I'm interviewing other agents and I will not sign until I know, until I'm done interviewing. Do you want to pass the mic now?
Well, okay, let me get my list out here. No.
Sorry.
Yes. How do we handle it?
We said that at the
Interview.
beginning.
Well, I'll let Joe do the script on this one. The script is I'll be glad to call all the other agents that you plan on interviewing and tell them that you have gone with us. And we go through our spiel, and I think what we do is we do the thing about the 3 MLSs. It's very important to be in 3 MLSs. And would you like to have a consultant selling your house that's in the top 10 in the MLS in Alamance County, in the top 5 here? Somebody that works hard to listen to you and understand your motivation and constantly remind you of it, whether you want to be reminded of it or not, and go from there. I think those are the things. Is basically credibility, track record. Now this is harder for new agents, and God knows it was for us. But we'll be glad to call the other folks and tell them that you've gone with us.
I love it. All right, Joe, you're at the listing appointment. The seller says, nope, I'm not signing anything today. I'm interviewing other agents.
Well, it's a script. And the foundational script is, well, you have to isolate that objection to make sure that that's the only thing that's keeping them back. Well, other than wanting to interview other agents, is there any other reason why you wouldn't list with me today? ... Okay, so they give you that answer. You working with. And then you say, well, at this part of the presentation, when somebody says that they're going to interview other agents, it's because they probably feel obligated to have those agents over. They've already made the appointment. Well, here's what I'll do for you. And I've done this for other sellers. You're trying to be like agents. This market where things are happening so quickly, there may be a buyer out there that has to buy right now. You want them to know about your home, right? Well, while you're trying to be polite, let's get started with getting this listing under wraps. And I've done this for other sellers. I'll contact the other This is what I'll tell them. They liked you, they want to meet with you, but I convinced them to list with me today. However, if you have a buyer interested in this house and they make an acceptable offer, naturally I'll share my commission with them. See, save them time from taking time away from their family. I'll even make the call here if you'd like. It's a script. So.
And I've used that on her and on him, but it's okay. It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Let's have, so the reason why, okay, so I've used it on Robbie and it was hilarious. Like I called him, he said, oh, and then that was the lady that actually turned me into the real estate commission. So Robbie, when we were doing this a month ago, Robbie was like, and then all of a sudden Robbie disappeared. So Robbie went to right after this, a month ago when we did the panel, I get a call at 3:15.
I was like, hey, Cindy, sorry. I know you're going to meet the guy over on Longleaf and we just signed a listing agreement. So don't waste your time.
Like the same, I'm like, you
Yeah.
can't make this up. Because I had just.
And those people were amazing. The transaction was easy. So it's completely the opposite of what you went through. But,
They made the
Yeah.
appointment that they made the
Yep.
appointment. Hey, we really
With me
looked
too.
you up. We
Yeah.
looked you up. We really
Yep.
want you to list our house. I didn't ask them.
we both went in thinking we were the only person they were meeting with. I did too. Until at the end, they were like, well, we don't know if we want to sign yet because we got somebody else to meet with. I said, oh, that's no problem. Why don't we go ahead and sign? I'll give
I
them a
was
call,
meeting them That was at one. That was at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was meeting them at 3.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we got that. Okay, they made something else. So that was,
Yeah.
it was just amazing how that does work. So it was
Yeah,
just
it
really
does.
funny.
And I think sometimes it's not even about the script. It's more about the client. Where's that client out? Because that script, you could script, and then you could script them and script them and script them. And no matter what you say, what you do, they're still going to meet with those other agents for
And-
whatever reason, or they want to make that call. So I had a lady, we just put her house on the market yesterday. I met with her and she said, so I used the script. She's like, no, I don't want you to do that. That's okay. I mean, I tried over and over again, like, let's just sign. I left 5 minutes later. She called me back. I just called that agent. I'm ready for you to come back. She just wanted to make that call.
So right.
And so I don't pressure. I mean, if you're not ready to sign, you're not ready to sign. The last thing you want to do is keep scripting them and then tick them off, and then they're never going to sign with you because all you did was kept pressuring them to sign. And then there's some other tactics you can use too. There's additional terms in the listing agreement. I put things in there with for sale by owners a lot. If this person comes, the buyer's name they have, then we're just going to rip this agreement up. Did that yesterday. I mean, I've done that stuff and it works. Because then, hey, I'm already here. You're already here. Do you really want to waste another hour for me to come back and go through all this paperwork, or you want to just get it done now? Let's just get it done now. So anyways, a couple things.
Well, that was just.
That was,
My answer is really easy. I would just use the script. I've used it before. That's the only one I've used. I honestly haven't encountered it a lot. But that's what I would do.
Yes, I've used it. It works. That's it. I mean, we've already said the same thing. So, I mean,
Totally.
it was just absolutely hilarious. Like I was dying. Like we were all in the office. I was like, Ariel, you won't believe this. Like Robbie just used it on me. We just talked about it. It was funny.
that's the only reason I came to that. It worked.
And he also had a higher price than I did because I asked him, what did you list it for? It was actually $10,000
more.
and it sold for more. It had already closed.
Yeah, great.
It appraised too. So I was off. Because, you got to look at all those numbers.
That's fair. That's very fair.
And nobody scripted the next question.
All right.
All 5 of us, we didn't script the next question. This is amazing.
All right, so then fair enough. The next question is, our market center expects to receive a certain percentage of compensation when you're listing a property. How do you respond when a seller wants you to reduce your commission?
Other than wanting to reduce your commission, is there any other reason why you wouldn't list with me today? Okay, see, sellers, they all want the same thing. They think that they can get the same price no matter who does the negotiations, which we already know isn't true. Otherwise, top agencies wouldn't invest hundreds of thousands of dollars to hire the best negotiators like me that can negotiate the best deal for you. The other agents already shown you their negotiation skills by giving away their own money. What do you think would happen when you asked them to watch your money? Don't you think they'd give it away faster than they gave their own money away? I think you need a bulldog like me, somebody that will watch your money and negotiate on your behalf. But then again, when it all comes down to it, we've got scripts for this. And the thing is, this is a very competitive market. And we talk about this in our script practice and role play. Let's get real. I was back and forth with on script practice. No, in Hillsborough, Judy Weinstock. She was the client. She's like, Joe, I get it. I'm not going above 5%. And in this day and time, when we've got the training to overcome those objections, and it really gets down to brass tacks, don't walk away from the listing. The listings are too hard to come by these days. But this is how you say it. Don't compromise your character. Come across as making an exception. If I make an exception to this, will you sign the listing agreement now? Okay. So we get it. It's very competitive, but you've got to defend your commissions. I just got a listing agreement for a 6.5% commission recently. I'm getting a little bolder to try to increase my commission, and she signed it. So I get 3.5 and I don't have to cut the buyer agent commission. Think about that.
I've got one question. What would you like me not to do?
Mic drop. Okay, no, don't really do it.
So the reason why I didn't answer that question, and I figured Joe Don would do it. So last night, I'm very vulnerable right now, right? So I went to an appointment and we were up against, are you ready? 3.9%. 3.9. He's already sold 3. Now this is in Durham. Okay. I'll just tell the scenario. Rucker's in the back. Rucker was their buyer agent, showed 12 properties, wrote 2 offers. They email him. We don't need your services anymore. We found a house that we're going to buy from a family friend in Mebane. Okay. And we would like you to list our house at 4%. I'm like, well, first of all, we're not responding to an email. We're not going to talk about that. I need to see them sit down in person. Okay. So we went last night. It was a long day, drove to Durham. No traffic. That was good. We went to Durham. The house is packed. Like these houses are packed in, and it's a beautiful home, house around, right. 2 up, doors up, sold for $535. They bought the house 2 years ago for $402,000. I'm like, ooh, you're making a lot of money. She's a CPA. They work for Cisco. They are probably saying too much, but still. So I reduce, and I have, did it go out? Did it go out? Okay. I sold their parents. I've sold 5 properties with their family. And she used it on me. Yeah, but so yes, I took the listing because I felt that Rucker was deserving of something. I did take the listing, but I am paying 2.5%, and then I'll take my hit. But I'm splitting it. But what I want to say was I wanted to walk away, and if it hadn't have been for Rucker, I would have. Does that make sense? So she knew that. I mean, I sat there and I did not talk. Like I was like, oh, and I really thought about it because I wanted to walk out because it was kind of because we work hard. I'm a professional. It was, don't take it away, but it's hard. And I didn't want somebody else's sign in the yard. Am I going to get something out of it? I don't know. But that 3.9 guy needs to go away. Like he's killing the industry. And I just felt that, and he was only paying 2% to the buyers.
I'll let you add, but that goes into my next question. So if you'll be my last comment on that.
Yeah, I was going to say too, the other thing you can always do is add a fee. I add a marketing fee. So if I do go down, I'll add a marketing fee, and then that way, at least that covers photography and it covers, anything else. So that's another option you can always do. If you do lower the commission, they don't see it the same way. You know what I mean? Like, well, you came down to 5. I'm like, yeah, but I also charge you $250 or $300 in marketing. So at least anyway.
Very good. That's a great idea. All right.
I want to add something real quick
All
to
right,
that real
I
quick.
will allow it.
Because people are saying, well, you're not working as hard because, the 6% and everything, real estate agents aren't working as hard. And you have to explain that to them. It's like buyer's agents are working harder. Why would you penalize a buyer's agent that's probably already lost 3 or 4 offers on behalf of their buyers because of the inventory? It's not for anything that they've done. And so you have to keep that in mind. That's just another thing I wanted.
I'm going to stop on that. Well, I'm going to, because I want to get my last two questions in. They're really important. So this next one, if I can just get a simple yes or no, and then I really want the last question for you to be where we close. So on that note, on the buy side, and you're in a situation in which you are showing a listing that is lower than what your commission percentage typically is, how do you handle, do you pass that on to your buyer, yes or no?
In the last 2 weeks, we have.
Mm.
They asked, we were working with them on a FSBO. The FSBO would not pay a commission. We asked them if they would pay the commission. They said yes. Amazing. Now, the advice that I wanted to say before you asked that question is the last time I ate a percentage was a long time ago. I eat dollars, but I don't eat percentage. And you can't eat percentage. So you don't earn percentage, you earn dollars. And just keep it in mind, that's what you're doing. And dollars mean profit, and profit means investment, and investment means legacy. And don't get caught up so much in percentage these days. We're in a rapid river.
That's excellent advice. Yes or no, do you pass that cost on to your buyers?
I do pass it on to buyers with a very detailed consultation from the very beginning to explain that. My fee for services is 3%. Long story short, if we see something in the multiple listing service that you're interested in that's less than the 3%, my first attempt is to negotiate that with the seller with an acceptable offer. If they don't, then that extra 0.5% or whatever that is part of your closing cost. Do you understand that? Do I need to explain it more?
I try not to work with buyers, but when I do, I know, don't. When I do, I try to just help them understand that. I mean, I really don't think it's a buyer cost. I think the seller should pay it. And I think it should be part of what you put in with the offer. He's done that, where you put the offer in and the buyer understands that you're going to make this offer and we're going to ask you. Yeah, I did. You're going to ask for 3% and they're offering 2.5, but that's part of our offer, so I think it's doing that is better. I don't think the buyer should have to pay it. I think the buyer's got enough costs. So that's just my personal opinion.
I agree with Robbie. I don't pass it along unless it's in such a way where we can build it into the cost of the house, or a FSBO, which is kind of a different story.
I don't like working with buyers right now. I mean, I know that sounds, I'm being like really blunt. It was just a quick answer. I know, but it's very hard to work with a buyer right now. I'm going to be really, I do much better on the listing side. I don't do well working because I'm old school and I want to we're paying over. I mean, because I'm living it on the other side, but when you're working for your buyer, it's more protected. It's really weird. So I don't know. I just, I've only worked, as I said, with 3 buyers and I got them all under contract very quickly, but but that's not normal. I mean,
She'll teach win the buyer for you.
no.
All right, last question. What would you say to a brand new agent that has not discovered their unique value proposition and have not learned how to communicate their value? What is your advice to new agents on value?
Get a coach.
Yeah, get a coach for sure. I'm not very good, honestly. I'm not good at communicating it. I don't think entirely, but the best thing that I have learned in the last year and a half is just to use all the resources that Keller Williams has available to you. Ask people, ask other agents, take classes, do the videos. I mean, that will really help you build your confidence. And when you can do that, you'll be better able to figure out your unique value proposition and communicate it.
And I think when you're new, you need to take the time to go to classes, go to Mega Camp. Family Reunion is cheap now. You can do it on, virtual. Read the One Thing book. I can't harp on that book enough. I think that's the biggest thing. You have MREA. If you want to know where you're going, you got to have a roadmap. If you don't have a roadmap, we lead with revenue, lead with income. If you're not leading with those things, then you're never going to be successful. So
I think it does take a personal assessment to be able to do that. And if you're having a hard time finding your own unique value proposition, then talk with people around you and get in a conversation with them and you'll discover it. And then if you get immersed in the systems and models, you'll discover, hey, this is something that I can gravitate to and I can use this and I can promote it to increase my business.
There are 25 to 30 million reasons why you should train yourself and do everything you can to learn how to do this business. Classes, talk to Cindy, come take advantage of everything that is in a place like Keller Williams that provides you that stuff. I mean, you wouldn't go be an electrician without getting some training, but we can make more than electricians if you do the work and get trained, get a coach. Yeah, get a coach. Talk to somebody. Stand in the hall. I learned more standing in the hall around here the first 6 months I was here than you can imagine. And everybody was receptive to talking to me for some odd reason.
Do you have any closing words that you would like to say? Anything that you didn't get to express so far on this panel?
This is a satisfying profession. I'll say that. Seeing somebody get a smile on their face because they got a house they want to live in, good deal.
Yeah, it all goes back to the clients for me because I get testimonials and pictures in front of their house. And I just remember my first year, I sold a house to a buyer. And I said, can you just share, your thoughts at the closing table of the experience? And she broke down in tears. And she said, I never thought I can do it. And I've done it. I'm a homeowner. And it still chokes me up sometimes because she was at a point where she really didn't believe she could ever own a home, and I helped make that happen for her. And she's in a different place in her life right now, and I get to see different stories like that from different clients. So
Yeah, I think it's cool kind of on the flip side of it. Like I have a client right now in Mebane, and they're basically just selling their house to get the equity out to pay for their kids to go to college. So it's like almost on the other side of things, not even talk about homeownership, but helping people realize the equity they have. People don't understand what I've had clients make $50,000 in a year just by living in their house, and then they're able to do all these other things because of that. So it's pretty cool in a different way. But, yeah.
For me, it's just looking back on the relationships that I built through this process, helping the people, but all of the people that I'm still in touch with and I'm friends with, and to be able to go to their houses, whether they sold and they've moved or whatever, that's been pretty satisfying to me. I built a lot of good relationships on that. And then for newer agents, the other thing I want to say is be okay with change. So when you're going through all of this stuff and you discover your value or whatever that is, it can change, and that's okay.
I think for all of us, we all go through changes. I mean, but continue learning. Oh, okay. So the other thing in here, remember, you can work so hard, you can get burnout. Okay. So for me, it's balance. I like to plan a trip. I like to go places, even if it's for a weekend at the beach but for me, that's really important because I work all the time. Robbie has 6 kids. He has to set it down, and you have to be present and milk your cows. So, but you also listen to your podcast. I have to be very strategic in what I do for myself. Like I'm reading the book Atomic Habits. And I thought I had read it, but I hadn't. So there's certain things that we have to do depending on where you are in your life cycle. And for me, I want to be the next Margaret McCann. She's in the audience. I had to say that. I was like, I'm going to say, because I remember talking to Margaret. I don't know when I first came back, when I kind of started over again, and we chatted a little bit. And I have a lot of other things that I want to do too. So I think this business has allowed me a great life so far, and I want to leave a legacy. And that's why I wanted to do Dudley Realty Group, so that I could leave it for my kids and my grandkids. My parents are here now, so they're not even a mile from me. So I see them all the time. So it's just that balance. I think that you have to be careful of that too. You should disconnect. You have to turn it off, because if you don't, it consumes you, and you will be like, I get a little bit high energy, just slightly, but but you have to really be careful. I won't jump on the chair, but you just have to, so when I'm in front of people, I'm not like what you see me. I'm really calm. Like, I know that sounds funny, but I have a different persona when I'm in, I do. Don't,
I'm going to
I'm,
stop
I'm
it.
just stop there because they're just
Yeah,
gonna start
I'm
laughing.
gonna stop us here because I know where this is going, very much so. I want to thank all of you for listening on Zoom and for attending in person today. And most importantly, I really want to thank all of you for giving your time and being so open and vulnerable and sharing. And so please, everyone, give them a great round of applause and love. We did record this event, so we will have this out on our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel, and all the other good channels. And I have very much enjoyed being here with you guys today. Go out there and make it a great rest of your day.
No, it's not public.